Good heart keeps you beautiful forever. Welcome to AHS Guide, your trusted companion for mastering anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, and microbiology. Here we make the complex concepts simple, clear, and exam ready, helping you to learn smarter, remember longer, and build a stronger medical foundation. In today's session, we'll begin our exploration of the physiology of cardiovascular system, the lifeline of human body. Our focus will be on the three key areas in this video: the introduction to cardiovascular system, its structure, role, and importance in maintaining homeostasis. We'll learn about the general principles of circulation, where the blood flows through systemic and pulmonary circuits, and the concept of pressure gradients and regulation of blood flow. The properties of cardiac muscles, where it includes the excitability, conductivity, and rhythmicity and contractility, which makes the heart a unique and a powerful pump. By the end of this lecture, you'll have a clear foundation of how the cardiovascular system works and why the heart muscle is specially adapted for its vital role in circulation. So here is the topics of cardiovascular physiology of cardiovascular system. These are the different subtopics which will be uploaded in future. But in today's video, we'll be studying over the first two concepts, which is introduction to CVS and the general principles of circulation and properties of cardiac muscles. The rest of the topics are here. That is cardiac cycle, heart sounds, pulse, cardiac output, factors and measurements, heart rate. We'll be studying about the blood pressure as well, the different types of it, the factors that are causing blood pressure, and the measurement of how the blood pressure is measured. We'll also be seeing the ECG, the graph of ECG, the significance of ECG as well, which is electrocardiography. Also see the normal waveform of cardiac rhythm, heart block. We'll also see the coronary circulation, the physiology behind it, the cutaneous circulation, the triple response, shock, and effects of exercise on cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. The introduction to cardiovascular system. Here we are going to study about the introduction of the physiology of cardiovascular systems. The heart beats in an orderly sequence. So the heartbeat starts from the atrial systole to ventricular systole and finally to the diastole, wherein all the chambers are relaxed. The heartbeat originates in a specialized conduction system, and the main structures involved in the heartbeat are sinoatrial node, which is also called as pacemaker, because it causes the movement of heart muscles, causing the contraction and relaxation. So SA node is the first point of contraction, the pacemaking process. Now, internodal atrial pathways are the next main structure. Atrioventricular node, which is causing the contraction and relaxation in the atrium and the ventricles. This is the second node wherein the pacemaker is sending signals to. Then we have bundle of his and branches, which branch out into the right and left side of the heart, causing the movement of contraction and relaxation function throughout the cardiac muscles. We have Purkinje fibers as well, which are the ends of the bundle of his. Now, sinoatrial node discharges most rapidly. It sets the heart rate. So the SA node acts as the very first the conduction system beginner. So here SA node is the first one to discharge the heart rate or create the heartbeat. The impulse pathway of the conduction system of cardiovascular system starts from sinoatrial node, then the atria, followed by atrioventricular node, bundle of His, and Purkinje fibers, followed by the ventricles of the heart. General principles of circulation involves the anatomical considerations of a cardiac muscle or a cardiovascular system is SA node is present at the junction of the superior vena cava and the right atrium. So here is an image of the representation of sinoatrial node, the SA node, which is present in the right atrium and close to the superior vena cava and the right atrium. The second place where the conduction system is observed is the AV node or the atrioventricular node, which is present in the right posterior interatrial septum. So it lies between the lies at the posterior end of the interatrial septum. So the interatrial septum is the separating muscular tissue between the two atrias, between the right and the left atria. But atrioventricular node is present on the right posterior interatrial septum. So it is present on the right atrium, but on the septum of the atrium. Internodal tracts are the ones which branch out from the SA to AB node, finally into right and left bundles. Here in the internodal tracts, in anterior region we have Beckman's bundle. Then we have in the middle we have Wenck's bundle. Then in the posterior we have Thorel bundle. So these are the different bundles of nerve fibers that are causing the heartbeat. So Beckman's bundle is seen in the left atrium. It goes through the left atrium. Then we have middle internodal tract as well, the anterior internodal tract and the posterior internodal tract that is covering the right atrium. Then we have bundle of His, which is forming as two different bundles moving to the right and left sides of the heart. The right bundle branch and the left bundle branch is observed here. So the bundle of His is dividing at the region of end of the interventricular septum. So these divides into anterior and the posterior vesicles. The Purkinje fibers are spread as impulse throughout the ventricles. The histological feature or the cell-to-cell interaction that can be observed here is the conduction system is modified in the cardiac muscles which have the striations in them. So these striations are going to cause the heartbeat. Now the pacemaker cells or the P cells in the sinoatrial and atrioventricular node are small. Few organelles are present inside these pacemaker cells, and they are connected by gap junctions. So these gap junctions facilitate the movement of signals, or the cell signaling happens in this pacemaker cells. The fibrous tissue ring is separating the atria and ventricles. Here is where his bundle of His is conducting. So this fibrous tissue that is present is separating the atria and ventricle. So at this region there is no such transmission. It is direct transmission from the sinoatrial node to the atrioventricular node. Now we have the innervations. So these innervations act as the branches that are going to connect each and every corner cell of the cardiac muscles. So the innervations are right vagus, which branches from the sinoatrial node, the left vagus, which branches on the atrioventricular node from the atrioventricular node, and the sympathetic which has both a sinoatrial and atrioventricular nodes via stellate ganglia. So these innervations are going to transmit the pacemaking procedure. The reciprocal inhibition is acetylcholine or norepinephrine are released. So these act as the action potentials or the ones that is going to cause the contraction and relaxation. Now neuropeptide Y is less when acetylcholine release is observed. Now pacemaker potential. So these pacemaker cells are are involved in the spontaneous depolarization, that is there is pre-potential. So when the pacemaker cells are trying to cause the movement of the heartbeat or the movement of the pacemaking process, there is spontaneous, that is a continuous process of depolarization and repolarization of the muscles, which involves the influx of the efflux of the potassium ions. Here the potassium and sodium channels are observed. These potassium and sodium channels act as a funny current because they open off T type and L type, causing the calcium channels to also be involved in the pacemaker. potentials. Now, sinoatrial and atrioventricular nodes. Here, the action potential is mainly due to the calcium ions. There is no sodium channels that is involved in the sinoatrial and the atrioventricular nodes. There is a sharp phase zero spike observed in the sinoatrial and the atrioventricular node. Now, how is the regulation happening? So, the vagus nerve is nerves are going to release the acetylcholine and the M2 receptor. Acetylcholine at the M2 receptors, which is causing hyperpolarization, and there is decrease in the firing rate of the pacemaker. Now, sympathetic has norepinephrine and beta 1 receptors are present. So these are the ones that are causing the pacemaking process, wherein there is an increase in camp and increased calcium influx, and there is an increased rate of sympathetic action that is happening on the cardiac muscles. The regulation can also be influenced by temperature. If in case the person has a fever, the heart rate can increase. Sometimes the drugs can also affect the process of pacemaking. So digitalis depresses the nodal tissue. So when the nodal tissue are depressed, the heart rate might decrease. It depends on the drugs as well. The heart rate can also be controlled. So that covers the general principles of how a cardiovascular system is. There's one more process of spread of cardiac excitation. Here the sinoatrial node undergoes a atrial depolarization of approximately 0.1 second. So every heartbeat that is taking place, it is dependent on the conduction period. So here the conduction system for a sinoatrial node to cause a atrial depolarization is approximately 0.1 second, and for atrioventricular node it is delayed, and here the approximately 0.1 second is required to ensure that the atria contract before the ventricles do. So when the atria are contracting, the valves between atrioventricular valves open up, allowing the blood to move from atrium to ventricle. Now the sympathetic stimulation shortens the delay, and the vagal prolongs the delay. So the vagal stimulation and the sympathetic stimulations are opposite to each other. Now, ventricular activation begins when the left side of the septum, from the left side of the septum to the right side of the heart and to the apex, the ventricular walls and the epicardium. So that is how the ventricular activation takes place. It starts from the septum to the right and left side of the heart and to the apex of the heart, as well as the ventricular walls. Finally, to the epicardium that acts as the outer construction of the ventricles. Now at last the depolarization takes place, where the posterior basal of left ventricle and the pulmonary corners and the upper septum are involved in the ventricular activation. So here is an image of how the conduction system works, how the cardiac excitation takes place. It starts from the sinoatrial node, causes the depolarization of atria, allowing the atrioventricular node to delay the ventricular contraction. So from sinoatrial node, it is causing the right atrium and left atrium to contract, finally allowing the atrioventricular nodes valves to open up and release the blood from right atria and left atria into the respective ventricles. Once the blood is into the ventricles, the conduction system from atrioventricular nodes moves to the bundle of His. So this bundle of His activates the septum, followed by the left and the right cardiac walls, causing the contraction of the ventricles. The properties of cardiac muscle is the last topic for today. Here it is going to talk about the important functions of how a cardiac muscle is working. The resting membrane potential is approximately minus 90 millivolt. So this is the amount of energy that is stored inside the cardiac muscles. The action potential phase here, at phase 0 there is sodium influx, so depolarization occurs here. So the sodium ions are moved into the cardiac muscle cells. At phase 1 there is rapid repolarization, the sodium inactivation takes place, and at phase 2 there is plateau level, so calcium influx is required. So whatever sodium influx is happening should be removed here at this stage at phase 2. So in order to do that, calcium influx should happen. So to allow the calcium influx, the potassium removal is required. At phase 3 the repolarization takes place, where potassium is removed from the cells, and there is a resting potential once the depolarization followed by repolarization takes place. The gap junctions act as a syncytium, allowing the influx of calcium ions and sodium ions, as well as removal of the potassium ions. So that is the work of gap junctions. ECG is one such method that is used to summarize the electrical activity of myocardium. So ECG acts as a method of following how the different phases of action potential that can be observed in a person. It is used in a clinical practice. Now here is an image of how action potential of cardiac muscle. Here is the image of how the action potential in the cardiac muscles work. At phase 0 you can see the sodium ions that are coming inside the muscle cells. So here is the phase 0 and sodium ions are allowed inside the cells. So at this stage there is a peak level of the membrane potential. So from the minus 90 the energy keeps increasing, the membrane potential keeps increasing. At phase 1 there is transient potassium channels that are going to open, and the potassium efflux, that is potassium ions inside the muscle cells, are removed outside through and returns as TMP to 0 millivolts. Once the phase 1 is completed and the potassium efflux is happening, there is influx of calcium 2 ions through the L-type or the calcium 2 channels. So here is the balance between the potassium efflux and the calcium influx, so allowing the delayed rectifier potassium channels. So once the potassium channels are out, to balance out, calcium 2 plus ions are allowed to enter through the calcium 2 plus ion channels. Once the phase 2 is over, there is a phase 3 where the calcium 2 channels close, but there is delayed potassium channels remain open. There is return of TMP to minus 90 millivolt. Once the calcium channels are closed, there are sometimes the potassium channels still remain open, allowing to return back to the resting phase. That is phase 4, wherein the potassium channels is again opening up for the sodium movement of the potassium ions. So that covers the action potential of cardiac muscles. So in this video we have covered about the introduction of cardiovascular system, the principles involved behind the cardiac muscles, the anatomical consideration and the histological consideration. We have also seen what does the pacemaker properties and the spread of cardiac muscle excitation, and we have also observed the properties of cardiac muscles in this video. In the next upcoming videos we'll be studying about the cardiac cycle and various other topics. Till then, keep watching AHS Guide. Thank you.